series is awesome, partially because of their boss battles. For every good boss, there is one that is generic, frustrating, or downright boring. Now this is not a list of the worst Kingdom Hearts bosses, just a list of ones I personally despise the most. So if you're expecting a boss to be on here that you really hate, just so you know there are some that I didn't mind as much as everyone else did. If you want reasoning as to why, look at the description box because I want to get this thing started now. So prepare yourselves for my top 10 least favorite Kingdom Hearts bosses.
Silence, traitor.
Oogie Boogie does a good job at being a villain, and the boss fights with him throughout the series are really fun. Except for the one in Chain of Memories. How is it bad, you may ask? This bag of bugs is just like other bosses in Chain of Memories. A clone of the original boss who uses the exact same attacks. Except this one is pathetic. He's pretty much nothing without his traps, and if you have a deck full of cards that are 7 or higher, then unless you have the slowest reaction time in the world, you won't be able to use a single one of them. Except for when he throws the red dice at you, except his aim is horrible with them. When he throws the dice onto the floor, use one of your cards. It doesn't even need to hit the dice, it'll still break his attack as long as your cards are 7 or higher. Don't worry, they'll stay on the screen for a long time, giving you plenty of time to do this. 3 times doing this will lower the gates enough. The fight is just waiting for him to throw the dice on the floor, card break him, do this 3 times, jump onto his platform and attack him without doing any other strategy. He doesn't even try to set off his traps when he's vulnerable. Don't waste your card combos on him. Just give him your worst and you'll own him. You're supposed to be filling our dreams to the brim with fright, not laughter.
Dance, water, dance!
The Olympus Coliseum is among one of my favorite worlds in the original Kingdom Hearts. It's a great challenge, the tournaments in it make it perfect for level grinding, and it has some awesome boss fights. We have Sephiroth, who is both a love letter to Final Fantasy VII fans and a very hard boss without being too maddeningly cheap. Cerberus, who is somewhat annoying at times but a very worthy challenge. The Titan bosses, where their size alone can make the fight epic. And of course, Hades, the Lord of the Dead himself. These guys are all very formidable opponents. I wish I could say the same about Hercules. When I heard that you get to fight against Hercules, one of many classic Disney heroes and the son of Zeus, I was pretty pumped to face him. And of course, by the placement of him, you can already tell that I was largely disappointed. Why is he such a terrible boss fight? For starters, Wonder Boy here will stand around walking at crawling speed when he should be wailing away on you. He doesn't even lay a single attack on you until you get close to him for most of the time. I can see that some people don't like to just throw themselves at you and instead wait to attack, but sometimes when he's invincible, he still won't attack until you get close sometimes, making this fight painfully easy. The majority of his attacks are very easy to guard against or can easily be avoided by merely running around, and he'll occasionally distract himself to stop and taunt.
Hey, give up yet? Hey, give up yet? Hey, give up yet?
No, I don't give up! Why would I if I'm kicking your butt?
Hey, give up yet?
As I was saying, when you break his force field with a barrel and allow him to be hit, you can land multiple combos on him because he doesn't do much to defend himself. At least he'll get a bit stronger in the second half, but his attacks aren't that hard to avoid.
Wow! And I didn't even hold back!
I'm having a hard time believing that. Come on, Herc. You'll never go the distance like this. You're Hercules, a man with godlike powers. We all know that you can put up a much better fight, but alas, it isn't the inspiring boss it could have been. But sometimes, it's better to have an uninspiring boss than to have an incredibly cheap boss. Shark Lobster. Why do I hate this boss? Aside from the small nitpick about how he looks more like a Little Mermaid boss than the Pinocchio boss, Sebastian Wanabe's main gimmick is to move onto the ceiling and force you to hit the uvula to turn the area upside down to reach him. Doesn't sound too bad? Once you hit the uvula, you must go to the other side of the room in order to reach him. When you do reach him, there's a chance he'll climb up on the ceiling again and force you to redo that whole tedious process. Attacking him on the ceiling isn't too easy because either you won't jump high enough, he'll probably move out of the way, and whether he does that or not, the times you have to keep jumping to hit him adds up. It's that or do the whole uvula thing which I previously mentioned. And he's a real attack spammer that can give you a lot of damage in a second and can kill you if you don't watch your back. And you know how on Dream Drop Distance, that if one of your Dream Eaters dies and you don't go up to and mash the button enough times, they disappear? This is the point where I had to do this the most because of his attack frequency. Sure, they drop some dream pieces that you can use to recreate them after they die, but they don't drop all of them. And when you're trying to save your Dream Eaters, Shark Lobster will probably use those attacks on you and kill you when your back is turned. What I'm trying to say is, I hate this boss!
Take this! Yeah! This is... Give me strength!
One problem with some bosses in the Kingdom Hearts series is having to keep jumping to land a single combo on them. It gets so repetitive, having to jump over and over and over again to land one combo. Jumping to reach them may not take that much time, but like I said earlier, with the amount of times you do it, all that time really adds up. Which is exactly why I despise Trickmaster. Not only is it tedious to have to jump to hit it, but most of the time you don't just jump, but jump onto the table, then leap off the table, then land a combo on him. And because of that, your jumping time will add up faster. This is made worse since the camera angle will make this way harder than it should be. I know that's a flaw with Kingdom Hearts 1 in general, but it's especially annoying in this fight. And if you're not careful, he can destroy the table. What's worse is the point where you fight him, you're not even done with a fifth of the game yet. It would be nice to let us wait until we have a high jump before he came to Wonderland. So your best bet is hitting him with magic. Except you don't have a lot of magic by now unless you have the patience of a robot to do that much grinding. You will have two ways of attacking him with magic. One if you miss the Blizzard command, that being fire. Blizzard does little to no damage to him, and though fire is decent on him, if you accidentally use fire on his clubs, it'll ignite them and it'll shoot them right back at you. Cheshire Cat was not kidding when he said prepare for the worst. The only thing I can say impressed me about Trickmaster is its design. Other than that, it's boring. I've talked about my hatred for Kingdom Hearts Recoded quite a few times in the past. If you remove this game from existence except for the bonus cutscene, the series would be largely unchanged because it's all about Gemini's journal being infected with bug blocks and you need to remove them. Since when do journals even get viruses anyways? As such, because the journal is a recording of Sora's adventure, a lot of times it feels like you're playing through the same segments with a few changes. And then we have the final boss, Data Roxas. I would have preferred it if Anti-Sora was the final boss. You know, the clearly more evil one who was actually responsible for all the bug blocks. Instead, we get this guy as the final boss. I literally didn't know it was the final boss until I looked up a strategy on how to beat him. To be fair, maybe I was a little too harsh on Data Roxas in my Recoded rant, saying it's the most disappointing final boss ever. I still hate it though, because of how much of a huge difficulty spike it is. Especially considering how the game was moderately hard until now. Most of it includes just dodge rolling constantly, because if you don't do that, he has a cheap tactic of repeatedly tossing you into the air, then knocking you to the ground right after that faster than you can use your aerial dodge. And if you die enough times on him, the game over screen's hint tells you not to move when he's finished attacking. Yeah, I tried that. It didn't work. And here's an example of those bosses who can lower your level temporarily. And it turns out, after you beat him, you were supposed to feel his pain. Oh, sorry, I mean you were supposed to feel his hurt. Seriously, I don't care what stupid reason they have to use the word hurt to describe it every single time. It gets so stupid and redundant. Would it kill them to use words like pain or sorrows more often? Like I was saying, they wanted you to feel sorry for him during the fight. I can see why people would, but I find it kind of hard to because he has so little personality and depth compared to the real Roxas. And then again, I guess it's fitting for a game I don't see the point of to have a final boss fight that I hated. In the end, the one that really had the hurt was me. Thanks, game! I don't like the Mirage Arena as much as the Olympus Coliseum because it doesn't help you level grind as fast, considering the level grinding system in Birth by Sleep, but it's still an interesting place to level grind, but it has a couple flaws. One is your inability to pause during it, and the other is that it contains my 5th most hated boss fight in the series, the Mimic Master. He has an absurd amount of HP, making his boss battle get really annoying. He will shoot out these 2 beams that are harder to dodge than it looks, and the black ones blind you if you don't dodge them. Get used to it because he's going to use it a lot. Eventually, he'll use an attack where he creates all these cards, which can only be hit by the front, and if you don't destroy them in time, the ones you didn't destroy each get turned into a clone of you, and because of how many there are, you'll be hit by attack after attack after attack after attack. Hey guys, would you do me a favor and let me heal? This gets worse when they blind you. And, like in the rest of the Mirage Arena, there's no pausing. So if your parents call you downstairs to take out the trash, you have to put your PSP down without pausing and accept the fact that you lost. The Disney bosses in Kingdom Hearts 2 are really cool bosses. We have Scar, which has epic looking scenery and how Scar's moves match his personality. Shan Yu, which adds some tension of protecting the doors while defeating him and still making it fair for this early on, and a handful of other good Disney bosses. There is one exception, and if you haven't guessed, it's Jafar. This has the potential to be an awesome boss fight. I mean, you have a fight to the death against an all-powerful genie in the skies, and you get to fight Jafar head-on this time. But of course, they managed to take this potential and throw it out the window. Jafar mainly attacks by spinning. Lame! You don't have to go for the head first. You go for his torso and then attack it with enough times, which has very low health. Then you grab his tail and look at this. You beat an all-powerful genie by grabbing him by the tail and spinning him. He won't be able to harm you, and when he regains consciousness, just go back to his torso and repeat the process. It completely ruins the suspense, and it doesn't look cool. Not even the Hercules fight was this embarrassing. And it doesn't even need to be there either. I mean, it's not like it's really hard to beat him without using the reaction command. He'll try to make this look like a hard boss fight by constantly shooting fireballs, which will keep holding you in place, and they still will be unlikely to do enough damage to kill you. All it does is delay his inevitable demise. His ultimate attack is where he puts you in a void and throws buildings at you. It's admittedly kind of cool at first, but he uses it so many times, making it get annoying very quickly, especially considering that all you need to do is go around in circles to avoid. Congratulations, Square Enix! You managed to take a fight against an all-powerful genie and make it boring. And you made a boss fight take forever to beat while still being way too easy. That's quite an accomplishment. I barely had any struggle with him on Proud Mode. Some may hate the one in the first game more, but I personally found the platforming in it quite interesting. This one, no.
You went mano a mano with Jafar and you didn't invite me, Al?
Don't feel bad, Genie. You didn't miss much. Most optional bosses in the Kingdom Hearts games are very difficult, but some bosses, like Julius, make me think, wow, this boss is pretty tough. Well, I better try harder. But with Venus Remnant, it makes me think, I hate this boss fight so much. He only has 1 bar of HP as compared to the other bosses. However, he'll almost never let you attack with his seemingly endless combos. And he has a couple of attacks that hit like a truck, and some of his combos come straight out of nowhere, and sometimes they don't seem to end until you die. He attacks rapidly, making this fight have more dodge rolling than the fight with Data Roxas. And if you're not careful, he'll blind you, forcing you to dodge roll around in random directions and pray that you don't roll into his attacks. And sometimes when you try to attack him, he'll teleport behind you before you land the blow, and because of the end-leg to your attacks, it'll give him plenty of time to sneak up behind you and attack you. I would forgive this since it's an optional boss, but this game's level grinding system is one of the worst in any game I've ever played. Because of Birth by Sleep's terribly low grinding system, that'll make it take longer than needed to get to his level. But what level do you need to grind to? Well, you'll likely be at level 33 at the end of your story, and you might not stand a chance against him until you grind up to level 65. Meaning you'll probably grind up to double the level you're currently at. That mixes terribly with this game's grinding system. So it's either grind up like 32 levels with the game where grinding one measly level takes forever, or put up with the Vanitas Remnant fight at the level you're at and have more problems with him. But whatever you do, you'll use up a lot of patience. Yes, you can spam Mega Flare on him, but I don't want to have to meld a lot of commands just to use one move. So why do I hate him more than the Mysterious Figure? Because the Mysterious Figure, while being harder with his stronger attacks, doesn't do as many annoying things as Vanitas Remnant does. But as much as I dislike this fight, at least unlike this next entry, I can somewhat understand what they were going for.
It's over!
I'm sure that by now everyone should know how infamous Ruler of the Sky is. If not, here you go. For most of the fight, you chase after it trying to get a combo on him. But because he's as big of a coward as Luigi, he constantly flies away from you and you'll barely be able to get 3 hits on him. And when you combine a boss that rarely gives you any chance to hit it with absurdly high HP and the defense of a large boulder, the fight can take about 10 minutes. It'll prolong an already prolonged battle when you knock off a section of his tail by flying around faster than you and raining down homing attacks and spawning ice pillars. This fight will drag on for way too long. In the second half he takes some time to rest, but when he's moving, he goes way too fast and you must wait for him to stop in order to get a chance to hit him. This is not how a Kingdom Hearts boss should play out. This is a hack and slash game, so why don't you let us spend more time, I don't know, hacking and slashing?
Oh, no way!
Okay, if you've seen some of my past videos, you'd probably expect this, but here it is. Young Xehanort. I'm sure this will be an entry that a lot of you agree on. He attacks so many times with a combination of his long combos and how fast his attacks are, so dodging them will be incredibly frustrating, especially if he casts a slow status on you. And when you have attacks that can take over half your health and are hard to avoid, that makes me so mad. And when you finally get this ugly stalker's health bar down and are ready to have a party, all of a sudden, he creates a giant clock and you must destroy it in time. But first you use your reality shift against it to make it vulnerable. And you only have a few split seconds to do that. If you do use your reality shift in time, because of how fast the hands on it move, you have less time than you may think. And his stupid clones will keep you from getting close to it. And if you run out of time, he regains a chunk of health and he throws a pointlessly and maddeningly long cutscene at you that can't be skipped. At least Vanitas Remnant and Mimic Master were optional, but young Xehanort is required to beat Dream Drop Distance. His boss theme isn't bad, but songs like Gordando No Buio, A Fight to the Death, and Dismiss were all more intense than this song. Young Xehanort takes the cake for my pick of the worst boss fight in Kingdom Hearts history. I am Meta57 II, and this adds another thing to the list of many reasons I'm excited for Kingdom Hearts 3, so that we can watch young Xehanort finally get what's coming to him.